And so here we are in the woods. We kidnapped the fabulous Sharon King with her agreement to that. I present to you Sharon King. She's a trainer of the technique, of the healing technique, Matrix Birth Reimprinting, and also author of the book Heal Your Birth, Heal Your Life. And I participated in her training, which happened just the other day, the other 3 days, and I was really fascinated of all the point of views and scientific explanations and spiritual explanations, and from energy point of view, all this put together in one holistic picture that explains so much about why we are separated from health, why we are separated from abundance, why we have problems with money, why we have problems with finding our true purpose in life. Why is it so difficult to have loving relationships? I would really want to ask Sharon exactly this question. Um, how can we use this technique to create, to uncreate the separation and create more bonding, and what prevents us from experiencing this bonding, which should be natural to any human being? Sharon, is that I hope it's not a too complicated question, but you're a profi.
Not a complicated question, but it's a question that can go off in many directions.
Indeed.
It's a big question to ask, with a lot of answers that could come in.
So where does it all start, this separation
Well,
issue?
well, there's a couple of key places that separation starts. The first separation is conception,
Right.
being separate from source, coming into a physical body.
Right.
And the next separation comes at birth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we experience that separation from being inside mum's womb. For many people, being inside the womb is very safe. For many people, being inside the womb is not a very safe experience. So even within the womb, we can feel a separation. We can feel disconnected to mum.
Wow. Okay. So how does this affect us later on? All these processes that obviously they cannot be escaped.
Mm-hmm.
And how how can we recognize that we are victims, consciously or not, of this separation, and what could we do?
Okay. So many people feel that initial separation from source because they've come into a body, they've come into an environment that really doesn't feel very safe. Because as babies, we perceive the external environment, we sense the outer world through our mother's perceptions.
Right.
So all the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions that mum experiences, then the baby's recording that, and that is creating the growth on how the baby's going to be.
Okay, so we we start being traumatized from conception because
Some of us can, depending on our conception experiences.
right.
Yes.
So we are separated from God, already a trauma, and then picking up all any negative emotion experience from mom, another trauma.
Yes. But unfortunately, what
Oh
we
my
do
God.
as babies is we don't have the perception of that belongs to mum and that belongs to me. The baby's experiencing the world through the mother, so everything mum feels, the baby feels that too. So if mum's feeling separate, isolated, alone, in fear of her life, then the baby is receiving that information that is, hey, it's not safe out there. You know, if mum's feeling this energy, I'm feeling this energy, this it's not safe. And that starts to influence the way the physical body's created, the emotional body's created, and our perceptions of the world, on whether we're coming into a safe world, a loving world, a peaceful world, or whether we're coming into a war zone.
And so we, let's say, most people probably have experiencing this. And then we come into the world already with these traumatic experiences and beliefs that are actually not correct. And we start living our lives through them. And this is what creates all the other issues that we have as adults. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So,
Yes. So when we have this subconscious programming that the world's a dangerous place, we are tuning in to look for danger. And of course, once you start looking for danger, you see danger everywhere.
You're going to create it.
Yes, and you're going to create it and manifest it, and also we are influenced by our ancestors too. So if our mother's mother was born during a time when there was a real scarcity and a lack of money or lack of food, then, or war, exactly. The best time to create scarcity is war.
Yeah.
Then the baby's also going to be programming in that belief that that there's not enough, and that everything is scarce, food is scarce, money's scarce. And again, so that's where our abundance issues can start from. They're not even ours. That's the funny thing is, it's half the time they belong to either mother or generations back. So that separation from money, from food, from not feeling safe, from self,
or obesity, or greed. It's all this can be traced back to
absolutely
those moments that we already explained. Right. I feel overwhelmed. I mean, it's difficult to be human being. What to do, Sharon? What would be? Yeah, obviously, so many things have to be taken into consideration. It's not one, it's not two, it's a lot. What could we do, especially if we are someone who is not a believer, doesn't want to do with anything that's spiritual, doesn't want to do with energies, it looks a bit weird, that's not for me. But still, I have a lot of problems in my life. I have problems with money, with work, with love, with everything. Most people do. With health. So what could be the one little thing that we could do for ourselves and still help ourselves to feel more connected, more bonded to life?